Welcome to Whatever Happened to Pizza at McDonald's, the investigative journalism program, or IJP, where I ask the question, whatever happened to the pizza at McDonald's? No longer, and, as it turns out, never, was sponsored by ZipRecruiter. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. As you may have just heard me mention, this program is not sponsored by ZipRecruiter, hence the reversion of our title back to its previous form. I could tell you a long and fairly uninteresting story summarizing how this situation came to be, but I will instead share with you an electronic correspondence I received from the ZipRecruiter Corporation's internal legal counsel, whose name I have magnanimously omitted to protect his privacy. Dear Sir or Madam, since as early as 2010, ZipRecruiter Inc. has used federally registered trademarks in association with its online job board distribution services. Due to ZipRecruiter's continuous and exclusive use of the ZipRecruiter mark and considerable marketing expenditures, ZipRecruiter has established substantial goodwill in the ZipRecruiter mark, and the public has come to recognize ZipRecruiter as an established and successful business. We recently became aware of your Twitter page, located at https://twitter.com/pizza@mcd's, which improperly uses ZipRecruiter marks. There is substantial likelihood of customer confusion that your business is sponsored by or affiliated with ZipRecruiter for the following reasons. I. You imply sponsorship, affiliation, or endorsement by ZipRecruiter with your Twitter username, which begins with ZipRecruiter Presents. I. You imply sponsorship, affiliation, or endorsement by ZipRecruiter with your Twitter background picture, which improperly utilizes ZipRecruiter marks. And I. No such sponsorship, affiliation, or endorsement exists between you and ZipRecruiter. I have edited out significant portions of this letter, as I am aware many of you listen to this program while driving, and I do not want to open myself to the liability of your potentially falling asleep at the wheel and causing a fatal accident. But, at the risk of further trying your patience, I will now share with you my response to this legal counsel, who, again, I have made the generous decision not to name. Dear Name Redacted, thank you for bringing this matter to my attention. I have complied with your request and removed ZipRecruiter's name and logo from my Twitter account. I apologize for this misunderstanding. Recently, I discovered a pamphlet tucked under the windshield wiper of my car that claimed to be an offer from ZipRecruiter to sponsor my investigative journalism program. I called the telephone number listed on the pamphlet and made what I thought was an amicable business arrangement with the person on the other end. I do not recall this person's name, but I believe it was something similar to Ronathan. The terms of this agreement were that I would promote ZipRecruiter as an exclusive sponsor of my program in exchange for quarterly payments, which would begin in the first fiscal quarter of the year 2020. This all seemed legitimate to me, as I am aware ZipRecruiter sponsors a majority of audio programming. But I realize now that this arrangement was negotiated by a bad actor, who did not in fact represent ZipRecruiter in any official capacity. I apologize for any due diligence I neglected to conduct into this grift before running afoul of your company. Hopefully the perpetrator will be brought to justice. At the same time I found this fraudulent pamphlet, I also found a business card that read, "We buy junk cars." Perhaps a single person left both these publications. Or perhaps the confidence individual who falsely represented him or herself as a ZipRecruiter representative touched the "We Buy Junk Cars" card when doing the dastardly deed. In any case, I am willing to submit the "We Buy Junk Cars" card to law enforcement authorities to be dusted for fingerprints or swabbed for DNA samples. Unfortunately, I threw away the fake ZipRecruiter pamphlet due to an unfortunate accident with a highly pressurized ketchup packet. I apologize again for any distress this incident may have caused. The metaphorical silver lining in this literal boondoggle, however, is that I have come to learn a great deal about ZipRecruiter while writing my unauthorized advertising copy. It seems as though ZipRecruiter is an admirable company, and I would be interested in pursuing an official sponsorship arrangement in the future. And, as an olive branch, I will waive my right to invoice ZipRecruiter for any business my audience may have sent their way. Hopefully this gesture will be received in good faith and will lay the foundation for a mutually beneficial future for both of us. All the best, Brian Thompson, journalist. When I announced on social media earlier this week that what I thought was our exclusive sponsorship arrangement with ZipRecruiter had come to an end, many understandably suggested the perpetrator of this cruel grift could be confidence man Monroe Boswell, who previously sought to humiliate me by posing as the CEO of the Panoply Network and leading me to believe that this program was a part of their storied stable of audio entertainments. Similarly to this instance, I received an electronic correspondence from Panoply's legal counsel alerting me to the misunderstanding and asking that I cease referring to my program as being on the Panoply Network and remove the Panoply logo from our marketing materials. And similarly to this instance, I complied with that request. I suspect that more similarities will ultimately come to light as well. Shortly after severing our non-existent ties, the Panoply Network was driven into bankruptcy and wiped out of existence. I would not be surprised if ZipRecruiter meets a similar fate, especially if it continues down its path of offering costly sponsorships to what some estimate to be over 96% of all electronically syndicated audio programming. But there are also key differences, not least of which is the fact that whoever perpetrated this grift did so by physically visiting my car/house and leaving a pamphlet on my window. I have had no such physical visitation by Mr. Boswell in the past, as he is a coward to the heart of his soul and would not dare commit his crimes from anywhere except the safety of the surely stain-spattered office chair set up in front of his personal computer. I believe it is more likely that I have fallen victim to the machinations of a copycat criminal. With the tremendous success of this program, it would be no wonder if certain numbers of our hundreds of thousands of listeners worldwide turned out to be bad actors who, sensing a vulnerability in my past tendency to fall for confidence schemes, sought to metaphorically scratch their proverbial itches for literal shenanigans by figuratively pulling the poetically licensed wool over my actual eyes. Thankfully, most of the world's population has submitted their DNA to various testing services to see if they are related to anyone important. So it should be an easy task for law enforcement to match any DNA on the aforementioned We Buy Junk Cars card with either the suspect him or herself or a member of his or her family. In the meantime, this situation has put me in a bit of a bind. Recently, I uncovered new information that has led me to believe my life may be in danger if I continue pursuing my investigation into whatever happened to McDonald's Pizza. And seeing as how I have sworn a sacred oath to myself to get to the bottom of this question if it is the last thing my living body accomplishes, I have no plans to end my investigation in the near future. As such, I am attempting to secure a life insurance policy which will pay out to my apprentice in the event of my assassination. But I do not currently have an apprentice, and I was planning to leverage my relationship with ZipRecruiter to employ their services in helping me recruit one. As of now, it appears as though those plans have been dashed. I have been forced instead to place a help wanted ad looking for an apprentice in my local Penny Saver. I do not have high hopes for a successful result, as the Penny Saver is primarily read by people who clean bird cages. But the bright side of this dark chapter in my life is that I now have the motivation to make a much-needed change to the format of this show. As before, I will continue providing pro bono advertisements for various high-quality companies, but I will no longer read them myself. I simply cannot put myself at any further risk of humiliation by personally vouching for businesses that may turn around and stab me in the back. I understand it is de rigueur for audio programming hosts such as myself to put their own personal spin on advertising copy to provide their sponsors with a personal touch. But I would ask my colleagues to join me in reconsidering this degrading and dangerous practice. It gives one a sickening feeling in the pit of his or her stomach to look back on old episodes from the golden age of live television in which hosts would personally vouch for harmful products such as cigarettes and asbestos baby bottles. Similarly, I know I would feel quite culpable indeed if one of my listeners opened his or her loot crate and found that it contained, for example, anthrax. So from now on, I will employ an amoral robot to read our advertisements. Indulge in these products or services at your own risk.
Would you like to eat meat but do not want to visit a restaurant or a grocery store? ButcherBox will send you some meat in a box. It will be delivered right to your door, so you do not have to leave your house to eat your meat. ButcherBox, it is a box of meat.
Thank you for listening to Whatever Happened to Pizza at McDonald's, a proud part of the Pizza Plea Network. Do you know what happened to pizza at McDonald's? Do you remember it? Please send all correspondence to pizza@mcdonalds@gmail.com. Visit our attractive website at www.pizzaatmcdonalds.com. You will find links to our Twitter and Instagram pages, as well as to our Teespring store, where you may purchase quality Whatever Happened to Pizza at McDonald's merchandise. To provide financial support, visit patreon.com/pizza@mcd's. Or, to make a one-time donation, use our PayPal email address, pizza@mcdonalds@gmail.com. I'm Brian Thompson.